You're only going to show certain things. And for him to do that, I think is really disrespectful and really grimy. And I lost a lot of respect for him. And I just Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the podcast. I'm here with Tyrone Malik and Hollister. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot to cover, but today's going to be like strictly like around basketball. So I know you guys already heard about the Kevin Durant and Michael Rapaport. We will get to that near the later part of the podcast, but I just wanted to say something real quick before I go on my rant about everybody complaining about the Brooklyn Nets and LaMarcus Aldridge signing to the Nets and all this other stuff and et cetera and et cetera. I wanted to just give a quick shout out to Roy Williams. He just retired, the UNC head coach. He did a lot of good things, for them. He won 2 titles with them, I believe. Tyron, you can correct me if I'm wrong. And he did his thing. And he had 33 years in college.
That's 3 championships, buddy.
Sorry, 3 championships. But he has 33 years of experience, and he's been there, so he's done that, and he's retiring. So thank you for that, because I'm a UNC fan. Also, I want to give a shout out to Isaiah Thomas. I'm happy for him that he's able to get a 10-day with the Pelicans. It's so sad to see like a guy like him, even though he was undersized, used to play big, and he sacrificed his career pretty much to play for the Boston Celtics in that playoff run, for them just to throw him to the curb after that hip injury while he got playing after his sister died and all that other stuff like that. And him and Boogie Cousins are the people that I feel so sorry for. Like they were like that on the cusp of getting a big payday, and then they got hurt. Shout out to them. But yeah, like I was saying, so the rant is this. Okay. Everybody and their moms were getting on the net talking about they trash and Kyrie or how many basketballs they need and all that stuff like that before they even got James Harden. They get James Harden, everybody and their mom still crying. Like, oh, you got James Harden. That don't mean anything. They James Harden was playing like crap, and he has to have the ball. And all they're gonna do is dribble. James Harden been playing at MVP level, killing for us. You know what I'm saying? Kyrie, he's falling in line. KD was playing well for the games he was playing, averaging almost 30. You know what I'm saying? Then, he gets hurt, a little sideline. Then we get Blake Griffin. Everybody was saying Blake Griffin was trash. Oh, he can't dunk no more. And I said this too, and I'm saying it. We said this, that I said the first game back when he come with the Nets, he don't dunk. And what he do? He dunk. And he catching alleys. It's like almost Lob City. He ain't got the same lift, but he doing his thing, right? So we have that. Then LaMarcus Aldridge made a smart decision. Like, you know what? Let me go to a team that is built correctly. A team I have a chance to win. I'm 35 years old. You know what I'm saying? I don't got much left in the tank. You know what I'm saying? As far as like career wise, as far as playing extended years like a LeBron, let me get a chance to play. If it don't work out here, I can always go as a free agent at the end of the season and go to where I want to go. Everybody hating on him too. So my problem is that everybody want to act like the Nets got this super duper team, and everybody want to say that Kevin Durant can't do this and et cetera and et cetera. But when LeBron James, and no disrespect to LeBron, I like him. I think he's a great player. When he was doing it, nobody said nothing. Everybody said, "Oh, LeBron, he got no help." You know what I'm saying? And a lot of these players, they realize, like, look, I'm going to come to a team where if we lose, we lose. Not if we lose, it's my fault. You know what I'm saying? And that's the problem. So I wanted to get you guys' take on that. So I'll go with Hollister, Malik, and Tyrone.
Yeah, so I feel like everybody's hating on Brooklyn and complaining about this person going here and all that. But like Steve, I agree with Stephen A when he said on First Take the other day, LeBron is to blame for all of this because he started, with the super teams. Everybody would probably say, the KG and Paul Pierce and Ray Allen, but they was older. But LeBron, when they got a D Wade in his prime, or Chris Bosh and all those other guys, it's like he started all this. Now he's getting his taste of his own medicine, and like he's actually losing. His team is actually losing, not doing as well as people expected. Now they're trying to point the finger on other people, but in reality, he started all this. It's okay, but if Brooklyn win, hey, if they don't, it's all good. But people complaining about LeBron and KD, this, that, and the third. But if LeBron was getting the LaMarcus Aldridge, the Blake Griffin, they wouldn't be complaining. But we all know how that's how it goes, and I hope they lose. And they got to worry about the Western Conference because that Western Conference is stacked now. So everybody talk about the Lakers going to the finals is not looking very likely. But we'll see what happens.
Yeah, so as far as that whole thing, like y'all touched on, at this point, that's just the way that the league is going. That's the way teams are built now. Like people trying to form super teams, and like you spoke to, and like you said, Stephen A. mentioned, like LeBron did it. He got two other superstars in their prime. So yeah, you could say KD, Kyrie, and James are in their prime. But as far as like the Blake Griffin, LaMarcus Aldridge, some of those other pieces, is more so like filling out the roster. And there's no knock to those guys. They still the names, and people remember the names and the All-Star appearances, and they still stars as far as the name. But yeah, LaMarcus Aldridge 35 near his end of his run. Like he's still a good player. Like he ain't no bum, but he ain't the you know LA LaMarcus Aldridge or the one that was killing in Portland. Then you got Blake Griffin. Like people was saying he was washed for like a couple years. So now all of a sudden it's like, oh man, oh my God, like it's not fair. Like, look, he's still a good player, and I think they're a deep team. But at the end of the day, when you look at it, it's not as crazy. It's a lot of teams, they get their core superstars and then they try to find players to fit in around them, whether that's signing a fading star or somebody else to fill in the different roster spots. And like Michael talked about, the Nets built a culture that made people want to come there, and also people looking at it like, look, I got an opportunity to win here, and look, it might be a year rental in some of the situations, this, that, and the third. So I mean, we'll see how it plays out. But I think it's mainly because of their names that is getting as like blown out of proportion on a certain level. But I think it's similar to other things that have been like that Miami team, right? They added Ray Allen. Yeah, he wasn't, the younger Ray Allen, but it was still Ray Allen. You know what I'm saying? Like they not the first team to have a bunch of all-stars. It's just they not all in their full prime. So yeah, it ain't the first time, and it's not gonna be the last time.
All right. So I wasn't here. I didn't record last week. So I want to give a quick, before I start my opinion, a quick rest in peace to Elgin Baylor. I wasn't on the recording, so I wasn't able to say that. One of the greatest players of all time. He lived a long life. He didn't suffer. God bless him. It'll be nice to see some of those pickup games in heaven one day with some of the legends that's already up there. So I just wanted to say rest in peace to Elgin Baylor. And of course, you guys know I'm a diehard North Carolina Tar Heel fan. I'm probably the biggest non-born North Carolina, non-person that's not born from North Carolina, probably the biggest Tar Heel fan out there. So I just want to congratulate Roy Williams, who's the second greatest Tar Heel coach ever after Dean Smith, on his retirement. I wish him all the best. 3-time national champion winner. And I just wanted to just give him a congratulations there real quick. So with the complaining that everybody's doing with the Brooklyn Nets, are we forgetting the fact that as you guys all just said, yes, their names are LaMarcus Aldridge and Blake Griffin, but people forgot they're in the twilight of their careers. Neither one of them are the focal point of their team's offense anymore, especially Blake Griffin. Blake Griffin he's been neutralized to just a 3-point shooter basically when he was in Detroit this whole season. So he wasn't really doing much of anything. They even had a stat saying the man didn't dunk since 2019 until he got traded to Brooklyn. So I really want to know, if Blake Griffin would have went to the Indiana Pacers, would we be talking about that? No. So the fact that he went to Brooklyn with James Harden and Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving, it's basically what Menelik just said. It's just because it's their names. They're not superstars anymore. You brought up a good point. Ray Allen, he went to the Miami Heat. Nobody bat an eye. They just said, oh, man, he left the Celtics and joined Miami. Oh, it's over. They're going to win another title. Like, nobody complained. Did the Lakers just not sign Andre Drummond? Michael, talk to me.
Yeah.
Did they just sign Andre Drummond, who's in his prime?
Yeah.
Who's in his prime?
Like 27 years old, in his prime?
Nah, I think he's about 28, 29. I could be wrong, but yeah.
You might be right. I mean, around that age group, he's still not in the 30s.
He's averaging 13 freaking rebounds a game.
He's actually 27.
Wow. 27. Wow. So 27-year-old Andre Drummond joins Dennis Schroeder, Kyle Kuzma, LeBron James, and Anthony Davis, Montrezl Harrell. But that's okay.
Exactly. And those dudes were averaging at least 20 points or more, respectively, in the teams before they got there prior. Blake Griffin, 12. LaMarcus Aldridge, maybe like 15. You know what I'm saying? So
and Aldridge wasn't even playing that much.
Exactly. But people looking at the names and they getting it twisted. And a lot of it is just look, I understand. Sorry, go ahead, Tom. Go ahead.
No. What you was going to say?
No, I'm just saying. I understand. I just said I understand how people feel. They look at it where it's like, oh, there's no parity anymore. Like you kind of know it's a foregone conclusion that's going to be either the Nets that make it out the East versus the Lakers. Like that's going to be the lineup. So it's just like the ending of the movie, but you just don't so you don't really want to watch it anymore. That's what people are saying.
And this is the problem I had. I remember when LeBron was in Cleveland. Remember D Wade went there. He was there playing.
Yeah, nobody's saying about that.
I mean, they said he was washed up. He left Chicago. They had the situation with Chicago where him and Rondo and Jimmy Butler left, and he went to sign with LeBron for that half a year. Then he ended up going back, getting traded back to Miami. All right, nobody said nothing there. I remember when Darren Williams signed with Cleveland. Yeah. It happens. Like, but Menelek hit the nail right on the head. Like Chris Bosh, Dwayne Wade, LeBron James, and they add Ray Allen. Nobody said that's not fair. And Ray Allen was a starter for the Celtics on those teams up until the last season, and that was probably the issue he had there and why he left, because they started Avery Bradley over him, and that was an issue. And it's like you said, the LeBron started this. People want to say the Celtics, but they were all traded. Paul Pierce was already there. Ray Allen and Kevin Garnett were traded to the Celtics. They didn't say, hey, in like 2 years when our contracts are up, let's go to the Celtics. They didn't do that. They were traded there. Now, maybe they orchestrated like, okay, because KG didn't want to go there first. But when they made the move for because Ray Allen got traded before Garnett.
Exactly.
It's when they got Ray Allen when Garnett was like, oh, yeah, okay, pull the trigger on that. Because they were actually, he said it on, his on a show with Steven Jackson and them that he was going to try to join Kobe. So, and that's another thing. How many players have the Lakers picked up all them years? I remember Mitch Richmond joining Shaq and Kobe. Isaiah Ryder. Guys like that. Like it goes back. You can look back. It's been happening. It's their old veterans that are at the tail end of their careers and are now role players. So that's why they decide to join another team or a top team, because they know that their career is winding down and that's the best opportunity to win a championship. Me personally, of course, you wouldn't all sign those guys in their prime. That wouldn't be fair. But these guys are not the same players, and I don't think people get that, and that's why you hear all the complaints. Like they know the names. It's plain and simple. It's just like what you guys have been saying. It's plain and simple. It's just the names, man.
Yeah.
And that's the issue.
Right. And that's 100% right. And that is the issue, because it's just like on our fantasy league, people see names and they depict the name because they just know the person. Like people used to play Blake just off the strength. But if you realize and you watch the game back before he started getting some more burn, he wasn't putting up the numbers he was putting up when he was first on the Clippers. Same thing with LaMarcus Aldridge. Like you realize the players, they might have a name, but they might not still be the same type of player. And also people want to use it's like 4 All-Stars. Okay, so what? There's a lot of All-Stars. What about the Atlanta team that had 4 All-Stars back in the day? So you mean to tell me, they shouldn't be complaining? It's all about the quality and the quantity of the people. You know what I'm saying? Like, yes, there's serviceable guys. Blake Griffin might win a game for them in the series. So will LaMarcus Aldridge and everything like that. We don't know how everybody's going to play together when they play multiple games together. Everybody being near the rotation. So we don't know. I mean, I'm still picking the Nets to win the championship, obviously. But when people start saying, if they don't win the championship, it's a bust. Like, no, like LeBron, D Wade, Bosh, in their prime lost to Dirk Nowitzki. So it's like, what are you talking about? And that's their first time together. So you got to give people an opportunity and a chance. And like Malik said earlier, he reiterated what I said. The Nets made it a place to be with this play style, their culture, and the players that there. And a lot of players say, I'd rather play with like a Kevin Durant than play with LeBron. The old way is chase LeBron and go with him to see if I get a ring. And it's not a guarantee they might not even get out the West because he hurt, AD hurt, freaking Drummond has got hurt. You know what I'm saying? So you just don't know. So It is what it is. But switching gears, moving into the main source of this podcast is the Kevin Durant and Michael Rapaport. Now, for those of you who don't know, Michael Rapaport is a comedian, white guy. Um, some of his stuff is funny on some shows, but his comedic style is not really that funny. I'm not just saying that because what happened to him, Kevin Durant. So let's make that clear. It's like sometimes, some people's funny, some people, you vibe with, some people you don't. But there was a back and forth between him and Kevin Durant back in December, allegedly, not allegedly, that was said, where it's like they were going back and forth in DMs and Twitter. And Kevin Durant said some stuff to him, like, saying a lot of different curse words and saying a lot of homophobic as well as what they said, misogynistic comments to him. And they were going back and forth. And I guess Michael Rapaport felt insulted, decided to pursue legal counsel against Kevin Durant. Because Kevin Durant at one point said he'll spit in his face and stuff like that, and et cetera, et cetera. Long story short, Kevin Durant apologized. He said that's, he can't take a joke. He said, me and Mike was going out. We go crazier than that to each other. And he just don't want people to judge him based on what he was saying. Now, there's a lot of things. We said this in a lot of podcasts about people saying certain things or doing certain things that they don't necessarily do in public, and you might do it behind closed door and et cetera, et cetera. Not excusing what KD did, but I really am looking at Michael Rapaport in a different light. I think what he did was a sucker move because he's the type of guy who will go out there and have that kind of in your face, boisterous, kind of like loud, kind of comedic thing and saying something about people. And then when somebody go at him, KD could have probably went a little bit too far. And all of a sudden you want to like leak it to try to like damage this guy. And to me, I feel that it was uncalled for both of them, but it was very disrespectful on Michael Rapaport's side, where you take a private conversation between the two of you, and who knows what you said, because obviously you're not going to say the stuff you said. You're only going to show certain things. And for him to do that, I think it's really disrespectful and really grimy. And I lost a lot of respect for him. And I just wanted to get you guys' opinion on that, so we can go Malik, Hollison, and Tyrone.
Yeah, so yeah, as far as the KD and Michael Rapaport thing, like you said, on the one hand, right, I don't think he should have, put that out there, especially because I think it was said, or KD said, and then somebody confirmed that he deleted some of the stuff he said to KD in that back and forth exchange. So if you were going to do that, like, I think you should have put the whole thing out there. Not that I think you should put it out there anyway. If y'all were two people going back and forth, going at each other, to put it out there, but only put piece of it, I don't think that was a good look. And then as far as KD, yeah, like at the end of the day, he didn't do it in a public way, and everybody does certain things behind closed doors. Doesn't make it right. It doesn't make it, whatever. It came out. So I think they did find him, and I think that's fair. Is because that's not the kind of
They found him
language and stuff you're
50,000.
supposed to be using and putting out there. And I mean, yeah, so I think that the fact that there was some level of punishment, some level of something is fair. As far as, he gotta, deal with it, how he's gonna deal with it. I think they said the team talked to him, some other things, and if people feel away, I guess they'll call him out on it some more, or he'll make amends in different ways. But, yeah, I'm not gonna excuse the behavior, but it is a little different than some of the other things we've seen, and it's an unfortunate thing that happened overall.
Yeah.
Yeah, so with the Michael Rapaport and KD situation, I actually follow Michael Rapaport on Instagram, and he says some terrible things about people. I done heard him go on rants about Trump, other people, even like certain situations that goes on. So for him to exploit KD like this makes him look like a hypocrite because he's just as bad, but he actually say these things, but nobody gets on him about it. But the fact that it's Kevin Durant, a well-known NBA player, everybody knows him. People want to, blow it out of proportion. If it was me going against Michael Rapaport, nobody would care. But the fact that it's KD, they going, over exaggerate and this, that, and the third. And like Malik said, he cut out the stuff that he said, but of course he going to exploit everything KD said to, to make him look more bad. But I don't know what was his purpose of doing it. I look at him like Michael Rapaport, like kind of like a snitch, and he kind of like pulled the D'Angelo Russell move, like you exploiting a conversation you had with somebody that you said it was your friend. Now you saying you met KD once and this, that, and the third, but it's like he's changing up his story from what he was saying before, and I think he's just trying to manipulate KD and ruins KD's image. Everybody know KD's he's kind of sensitive, but he don't really like the limelight too much. But he's trying to I don't know what's his point of doing this, but it's unusual for Michael Rapaport to do this, and he's said some terrible things, but nobody broadcasts that he says about people. But I don't understand his purpose of this, and like Michael said, he look at him different, and I do as well too.
That's the confusing thing with this situation, because in my opinion, I feel there's more to it, and there's no way KD did all of that and it wasn't happening back to him. I'm not saying KD is an angel or a saint, but he couldn't possibly just be that malicious without hearing something back to him. Now,
Absolutely.
I give the only thing that I give KD blame for is basically you're Kevin Durant. You're in the limelight. Just know that this is what's gonna happen if you do this. Like, you should already be prepared that this is gonna come out, and somebody, because it didn't just have, because you said it was a DM, right? It's a DM. It was a direct message, right?
Yeah, direct message on Twitter. Yeah.
Right. Okay. So I can't say, well, somebody else would have leaked it, but if the two of you guys are going at it like this, at one point, at a certain point, you should realize, you know what? Let me stop, because feelings might get hurt, and some people might take it the wrong way, and stuff like that, and you don't want to deal with that, because he could always go. Because you would think he would just go on the radio or talk on a show and just be like, KD said this, and this to me, and you guys don't know the real Kevin Durant. I wish I could. But he took it a step further. He literally just put the whole message out there. And Stephen A. Smith basically took the words out of my mouth when he said it the other day. That's a street code. Like, you basically just told on this man when you didn't have to do that. Now, you don't have to be from the streets to know what the street code is. Like, not the ratting. You shouldn't do that. It doesn't matter what race, color, gender you are. Ratting is always a no-no, especially if you're supposedly friends. Why would you put him in that light? And Hollister put it on, hit the nail on the head. He called him D'Angelo Russell, because D'Angelo you didn't have to do that. Michael Rapaport did not have to show everybody that exchange. The same way D'Angelo Russell shouldn't have showed the video of Nick Young, basically telling on himself. But that's in the past. I don't want to keep bringing D'Angelo Russell's name up in that kind of light. He's moved on. Yeah. He's grown up and everything like that. But the only issue I had with KD is he should know better. He's Kevin Durant, and he has more to lose than Rapaport. Michael Rapaport is a comedian and stuff like that, and he comes on Skip and Shannon's show every now and then. He comes with some colorful rants about his Knicks and blah, blah, blah. Like, people look at him as a funny guy. So if he does this on social media, it's like, haha, it's Michael Rapaport. He's crazy, haha. But then it's Kevin Durant. He had the burner account. So there's a lot of things when it comes to social media going against KD right now. So he got to be careful, man. He's smarter than that. He knows better than that. He's too big of a superstar. And he has a lot of kids that look up to him to even, get into that. Even if you was joking, don't put that in letters. Herm Edwards, a former football coach, one of his favorite lines is, don't press send. Like, don't press send. Like, if you know this is something that you shouldn't do, don't press send. Yeah. Come on, Kevin. You come on, KD. You better than that, man. And I'm disappointed with him with that. Like, we all, listen, Rapaport, he lost a lot of respect with everybody. But I'm disappointed in KD, too, because he didn't have to go to his level with that crap. And now it's like, you could never trust Michael Rapaport again. Who could trust that man again?
Exactly.
With what he did. Mm-hmm. Mike, go ahead, man.
No, I agree with you, man. And like to say this to wrap it up, it's like you guys all hit it on the head. And I'm going to say this, like the Michael Rapaport thing is that I think it's coming from a place of like jealousy and envy in a sense. And I think it's coming from a place of anger and hatred, because you got to look at it from this perspective. You guys all said it. Like, we all see like the little memes, the little videos of Michael Rapaport wilding out, cursing, carrying on, saying some vile things and all this other stuff like that. And nobody bats an eye because they think, oh, that's part of his gimmick, part of his whole stance. So imagine a guy like him coming at KD, saying what he's saying. Obviously, he's a Knicks fan, so you know he was mad at the fact that they didn't pick the Knicks. Because they even showed one time, I think the other day when I was at DMV, they was playing on satellite radio, his take on like James Dolan, like how he was going in on James Dolan, which I'm surprised he's probably not even banned from the arena. You know, about the fact that he couldn't get KD and Kyrie because of the way he acting the fool and et cetera and et cetera. So my thing is that, like Malik said, if you're gonna be like that, you need to show the whole thing. You need to show what you said as well as KD. You don't show what KD said, and this happened in December. Why release it now? And that's the thing that bothers me too. Is like, why are you releasing it now? This happened back in December. So now KD have to go back for what he said in December and apologize for that now. Like I said, I'm not excusing KD, but I'm saying that, and to your point, Tyron, I feel that Kevin Durant needs to understand. And somebody said that to him one time on Twitter, like, yo, man, you don't need to answer these cats. And he said, yo, I'm a grown man. I do whatever I want with my social media. Yes, that is true. But it comes a point where you have to realize that, look, like you said, you have way more to lose. Your image is bigger than Michael Rapaport. Michael Rapaport is not a global figure like you. Michael Rapaport is a local guy. You know what I'm saying? Some people might know him other places. They might see him in 1 or 2 movies here and there, but you're Kevin Durant. You know what I'm saying? You got kids all over the world and people all over the world buying your shoes and knowing who you are and posters and all that stuff like that, and Golden State Warriors, all that stuff. That you are bigger than that. And it comes to a point where you have to, and that's why I give a lot of respect to LeBron too, because LeBron in this social media age, he picks and chooses when he's going to say what he's going to say and how he's going to say it, because he knows he has more to lose than these other clowns out there who just looking for clout. People will say certain things grimy to somebody just to get a reaction out of you so you can respond to them. So they're like, yeah, I got them to respond to me. So they feel like they are closer to you in some capacity. And you spend more time with burner accounts, reading the comments, getting mad, changing up your spirit just because you want to prove a point. There's nothing to prove. You are an NBA player making millions of dollars, right? These people are watching you play. You know what I'm saying? You don't have to answer these guys. So to me, I feel that, yes, I'm disappointed in Kevin Durant for always having to respond and have burner accounts and always have to be like, yo, I got to tell my truth and tell people what's going on. Like, nobody's putting you on a stand and accusing you of anything. This is all commentary. When we talk about who the GOAT is, the same concept. You don't see Michael Jordan coming to every barbershop like, no, I'm the GOAT and doing this. You don't do that. You just let it rock. You care about the things that you need to care about. And you realize now that some people you can't have certain conversation with. And Michael Rapaport, he lost all credibility. I don't think any other NBA player is going to be speaking to this guy at all, because all that stuff you just did, you a snitch. Nobody can talk to you, and you can't dish it out and not be willing to take it. That's one of the things I hate. You can't dish it out and not be willing to take it. And I know he said some crazy stuff to Kevin Durant, which is why Kevin Durant felt comfortable to say those things he said to him. Talk about C guzzler and all that other stuff like that. He ain't no regular cat gonna come out their vocabulary off the jump to say that to somebody, call him a D head and all that stuff like that. It has to be a back and forth, with that energy is the same. So to me, Michael Rapaport, you a sucker for that. KD, yes, you did what you did was wrong, and I'm glad you apologized, but you need to wise up too, KD. You need to understand that not everybody needs a rebuttal. Not everything you need to respond to at all. Go ahead.
I'm not even on social media to even know, and I heard about what happened the other day, but I didn't read like the back and forth and everything, and I didn't read like an article on it. I just basically got my knowledge of it off of Stephen A. Smith and them the other day. I had no idea that the back and forth was from December until you guys said it on the podcast. I had no idea. So that makes it even look worse. Why are you bringing this up 4-5 months later? What is your agenda, Rapaport? Like, somebody needs to sit him down, which he's not obligated to, because he's not an NBA star. See, Durant has to answer all these questions about this. Rapaport doesn't.
Exactly.
He doesn't have anybody to answer to. He's a comedian. Who's his boss? He has no boss.
Exactly.
So he has to explain this, because why are you bringing this up in December? You still that salty with him then?
Yeah. Look at the Nets, man. Think about it.
It's annoying to me because he's apologizing for something that he said 4 or 5 months ago, It upset me the same way it upset me when Kevin Hart had to apologize about something he said 10 years ago. Like, there's no
Yeah.
expiration that, like, there's no statute of limitations these days now on anything, man.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. Why is he getting fined $50,000 for something he said in December?
It's because of what he said and how he said it. So you gotta
I get
understand.
it.
No. I know you get it. And look, we're coming from a different place, and I don't want people to think we're being insensitive. We're not insensitive. We understand that some of these words do bother people, but like they said, it's just like an episode of South Park. I forgot what episode it was when they was using the F word to describe somebody. Even Mr. Garrison, who's a gay character on the show, called somebody a bag of sticks. You guys look up the definition of that, and he was like, it's not that you're saying that person is gay. You're saying that person's acting like a clown. So what Kevin Durant was trying to say, in a sense, what I was saying is like, yo, I don't have any vile, evil thoughts to these people who live that lifestyle, who do those things. I'm only putting him in this light and calling him these things to, like, as a quote unquote insult. You know what I'm saying? So he has to deal with it. And now he got fined $50K. That's not a lot to Kevin Durant. It's still a lot of money, but it's not a lot to him. But my thing with the Rapaport situation, Michael Rapaport has said a lot of things on that level and even worse, right? And like you said, he's a comedian. Who's holding him accountable? Nobody. So my thing when he did this is all out of jealousy and envy. Like, that's how it has to be, that because you see the Nets on the verge. If all things considered, all things happen the way it's supposed to happen, they're on the verge of winning a championship this year, right? Let's be real. They're on the verge of winning a championship. So you take that into consideration. He's salty. His Knicks, yeah, they in the playoffs, but they're not going to do nothing really. They're going to just be a team for somebody to warm up with. They might squeak out a victory depending who they get matched up with, but that's it. So my thing is that he's coming out. That was what he did was a malicious thing. Now he might say, "Oh, my wife," and he mentioned my wife, and he didn't say nothing really about the wife. So the wife don't respect him, and et cetera, and et cetera. But Michael Rapaport took things to a different level. You had a conversation between two men back behind the scenes, and you went and you publicly made it into a spectacle now to bring a bad light into KD, knowing that KD is getting ready to kind of come back and do his thing. That was a childish and, ridiculous move to do, because we all know that if KD wanted to pull his receipts on Michael Rapaport, he will probably have to do some explaining himself. So at the end of the day, like I said, this is not like me that's hating on Michael Rapaport and the KD thing and I'm deciding with KD and saying KD is 100% right. I'm just saying that we all know that those things that Michael Rapaport did were wrong, as well as what KD did. But the fact that Michael Rapaport waited to this time to come out with this stuff proves to me that he's only doing this for some quote unquote agenda to do like a smear campaign, period. There's no like real kind of like thought behind it. Like he's really trying to make a point and like, you shouldn't do this or it's not right. And I felt threatened. Like this happened in December. If KD wanted to yoke you up like he said he was in those texts, he would have did it back then. He's not gonna wait till now to do it. So all that stuff he's saying and what he did was corny. And I have to watch people who will rock with him afterwards a little bit sideways because he a clown for that. But yeah, I mean, unless you guys got something else to say, I mean, we could wrap. I know it's a late one tonight, you know what I'm saying, but I just wanted to get those things off my chest and speak on that. Yeah. Yo, did Michigan win that game the other night? I didn't even pay. I was watching it.
UCLA is in the final.
Dang, son, they was playing well too, man.
It's UCLA against Gonzaga, and then it's gonna be Baylor against
Houston.
Houston. Yeah, Houston Cougars. It's the first time they're going back to the Final Four since Fly Slamma Jamma with Drexler and Elijah. Wow. They're going up against Baylor, who I picked to win the national title. Then you got the undefeated Gonzaga against the underdog UCLA. UCLA was one of the first four in. They were like they had to do the play-in game and into the tournament. They're the second team to be in the Final Four after playing a play-in game. Okay. So
I mean, I didn't expect. I mean, I picked Gonzaga to win. I mean, my bracket was all messed up after the first day, but I picked Gonzaga to win. But cause they strong, man. They look strong.
No, Gonzaga is definitely a strong team. It wouldn't shock me if they won. I picked Baylor because Baylor was considered the best team basically from day one, I'm a college basketball guy, so I see they were like preseason ranked top 2 or 3 all season. Gonzaga was a top team also, but they weren't ranked number 1.
Okay.
So, Gonzaga came on strong, but I would love to see Gonzaga versus Baylor. So I hope that's the matchup we see in the final championship game. That's going to be a good game.
Yeah, it's going to be a real good game. But yeah, man, other than that, I want to thank everybody again for tuning in. Thank you for listening to the podcast. We're going to try some new things. I know we're supposed to do a collab with some people that Hollis to know. We'll try to set that up eventually. I'm trying to find out different ways where we can make this podcast that we have a little bit more engaging. Also, yeah, man, this is, today's Good Friday. I mean, that's when I'm recording it, and you got Easter, Resurrection Sunday coming up soon if you guys are believers. Shout out to that. But anyway, enjoy the rest of your evening. Enjoy your weekend. Thank you for watching. Please like, comment, share, and subscribe to the channel. And God bless.